Okay, my friend, real talk. When is the last time you said, I just need to get through this week? Be honest. Was it this morning? Because here's what I've noticed. That week that you're just trying to get through, it's been dragging on for months, maybe even years. And there you are running on fumes. And your calendar, well, it looks like a game of Tetris played by someone who hates you. Your results have flatlined, even though that you're working harder than you ever have. And your body, oh my God, your body is staging a quiet rebellion. Maybe for you it's headaches or that 3 p.m. crash that no amount of coffee can fix. Maybe you're lying in bed at night, exhausted but wired, running through tomorrow's to-do list like it's a horror movie that you can't turn off. And then somewhere in the back of your mind, there's this little voice saying, something's got to give. Now, here's what no one's talking about is that voice, that exhaustion, that creeping sense that you're about to hit a wall, that's not just a sign to slow down. It's actually a fork in the road. Here's the fun part is the destination depends entirely on what you do next. Now, you can keep pushing, you can double down, you can white knuckle your way through, you can keep telling yourself just a little longer, and you'll drive yourself straight into a breakdown. I know from experience. Or you can pause, tune in, and ask, what is this resistance actually trying to show me? And then you can use that as a portal to a breakthrough instead. So, same signs, completely different destination. And that's what we're talking about today. Let me tell you what the breakdown path looks like because I didn't just study it, I lived that sucker. So there I was, 28 years old, at the time a branch manager of a multi-million dollar firm. I had the title, I had that corner office energy, the you made it accolades, and I was coming undone at the seams. And not just tired, not just stressed, my body was literally crumbling under the weight of everything that I was carrying. It was the fibromyalgia, it was chronic pain. The kind where you wake up and your body feels like it has aged like 40 years overnight. And here's the thing, I didn't even dare take any time off because you know what would happen when I left? The pile of urgent work just accumulated at my desk. Nobody was going to do it for me. So I'd come back to twice the chaos, twice the pressure, and I tell myself, see, I can't afford to rest. And my social life, well, don't get me started on my social life. I was knee deep in that work hard, play hard lifestyle of the finance world, except my version of play had zero substance. And it was just like a bunch of wall nights with too much booze to take the edge off and a rotating door of toxic relationships. Yep, I was that girl. Same jerk, different name, different haircut. And I was just limping along. And I couldn't see it because I was in so deep into survival mode that I thought, well, this is just what life is. You hit the numbers, you show up, you push through. That's what winners do. Sound familiar? Maybe it's your partner who only gets that tired version of you. Or maybe it's your body's signal that you keep marking as red, but you never respond to. And here's one that will make you wince, like that boundary you set last week, and then immediately made accommodations due to special circumstances. Yeah, I know. So think about it. Like, how is this showing up for you in your life right now? And here's the kicker that really got me. You think the solution is more effort, more discipline, more strategy, more pushing through. I know, I did too, for so many years. But here's what nobody tells us. You can outperform a self-defeating pattern. And here's how you get caught with your pants down. Because the breakdown, it doesn't announce itself. It's not going to send you a calendar invite. It is going to hit you at the most inopportune time. It shows up the morning that you can't get out of bed, that panic attack in the parking lot, the relationship that finally cracks under the weight of it all. So let me tell you about my fork in the road. There I was sitting in a doctor's office, 28 years old, and this man, this expert, looks at me and says, "You have fibromyalgia. We don't really know why it happens. There's no real cure, no effective treatment. You're just going to have to learn to manage the chronic pain." His advice was accept your circumstances. And in that moment, I heard a voice louder than anything he was saying. And the voice said that if this is my life, living in pain, limping through relationships that drain me, working myself into the ground to try to prove something to people who aren't even the ones who really matter, if this is it, I'm not interested. And something clicked. Not a gentle awakening, it was a decision. And you know that moment when you've been putting up with something for way too long, and then one day, without warning, something in you just says, okay, that's it. Not angry, not dramatic, just done. And then suddenly the path that wasn't there before, it appears. Like the seas parting, not because the obstacle moved, but because you finally did. That's what happened to me in that doctor's office that day. I stopped negotiating with a life that wasn't working, and I made the decision that I was not accepting the status quo. And here's what happened when I made the decision. And I know this is going to sound woo-woo, but I can't explain it any other way. The path appeared. I got matched with the right practitioners, the right therapy, the right diet, the right support. And within 1 year, I was completely pain-free. 1 year after being told that I'd live with chronic pain forever. And that wasn't even the biggest shift. A friend then referred me to a portfolio manager who led his team completely differently, a leader who believed that you create win-win-win situations and outcomes, and that you didn't have to sacrifice yourself for success. I was in an environment that didn't just tolerate my values, it matched them. And I didn't just survive there, I thrived. But here's what I really want you to hear. The doctor didn't heal me, and the job didn't save me. The decision did. I didn't know how to heal fibromyalgia. The experts told me it was impossible, but my decision, my refusal to accept a life that wasn't working, that's what opened the door for me. So think about it. How is this showing up for you in your life right now? Because if you're listening to this, feeling that familiar tightness in your chest, if you're recognizing yourself in the burnout, the toxic patterns, the body that's screaming while you keep pushing, I want to tell you, you're allowed to be angry. Not just tired, not just sad, pissed off. Angry at the systems that told you that that was the only way. Angry at the messaging that said rest is lazy and ambition requires sacrifice. Angry at the culture that celebrates burnout like it's a friggin' badge of honor. And maybe even on a deeper level, you're angry at yourself for not listening to that voice sooner. The one that's been whispering for years, this isn't right. Something needs to change. You knew on some level. You always knew. And you let the status quo win anyway. But here's what I want you to know. Okay, go ahead, feel the anger. Let it move through you. But don't move in. Don't sign a lease. Let it show you what needs to change and then let it. Real quick, whether you're nodding along or pushing back right now, I want to hear it. Leave a review. Tell me how this is landing for you. What's it stirring up? What's your experience? That feedback, it really matters to me. And it helps other people who need this actually find it. All right, back to it. Okay, so we've established that the signs of breakdown and breakthrough, they look identical. And the exhaustion, the flatline results, the body that's screaming, the Sunday dread that starts on Thursday, those are not just symptoms, they're information. And the question isn't, how do I make those feelings go away? The question becomes, what are these feelings trying to show me? So here's the fork. Path one is this resistance that you have to overcome with more effort. Push through it, ignore it, treat it like weakness. And this path, this is going to lead to your breakdown every single time. Path two, that resistance is a signal for you to decode. What if this isn't random? What if it's actually your intuition pointing to something that needs to change? This is the breakthrough path. And the only difference between breakdown and breakthrough is your discernment. So let me give you three powerful questions to ask yourself when you're at that fork in the road. When you can't tell if the resistance is wisdom or a self-sabotage. And I'm serious about this. Don't just listen. Actually ask yourself these questions, like out loud if you have to. Because your brain is going to lie to you, but your body won't. So, question one, what is this feeling really trying to tell me that I've been too afraid to hear? When I was pushing through fibromyalgia, my brain kept saying, "You're fine, keep going." My body was screaming something completely different. And here's what I learned about telling them apart. Self-sabotage is reactive, it's urgent, it's loud. It might show up as raising thoughts, sure, but it can also show up as sudden exhaustion, mysterious illness, a body that conveniently breaks down right before you're about to do something important. Self-sabotage uses everything in its toolkit to keep you stuck. Now, intuitive wisdom, that's different. It's unhurried, it's deep. That deep, quiet knowing, whether that comes through your gut, your heart, a flash of insight, or just a sense of clarity that settles over you. That information, they don't ensue panic, they don't rush, you just know. So close your eyes, take a breath, and ask yourself, what is this feeling really trying to tell me that I've been too afraid to hear? And if it feels frantic, urgent, like you need to decide right now, or something terrible is about to happen, it's your fear. That's self-sabotage, just doing its job. If there's a settled knowing, even if it's inconsistent, even if you don't like the answer, that's usually wisdom. All right, question two. What am I being protected from? Because all resistance has a job. It's trying to keep you safe from something. So when I was in a toxic work environment, part of me was terrified to leave. Not because I loved it, but because my patterns were protecting me from the unknown, from the unfamiliar, from that fear of loss. And self-sabotage protects you from discomfort, failure, rejection, being seen, and outgrowing the people around you. Now, intuitive wisdom, it protects you from yourself, from fear, from burning out, from building something that looks good but feels like a prison. It protects you from sacrificing what actually matters on that altar of success. So ask yourself, what am I being protected from? And if the answer is, well, looking stupid, being judged, failing publicly, that's fear. Feel it, acknowledge it, and move through it. If the answer is burning out, losing what actually matters, building something that looks good but feels like a prison, that's wisdom. That's your soul trying to get your attention. Stop long enough so that you can listen. Question three is a good one. If I knew that I couldn't fail, what would I do? Now, don't answer with what's practical. Don't answer with what other people would think. Don't answer with what you've already invested. Remember, I had every practical reason to stay where I was. The title, the income, the smart choice. But when I asked myself, really asked myself, if failure wasn't possible, what would I do? The answer wasn't keep pushing until my body gives out. So if you knew, really knew that you couldn't fail, what would you actually do? And the answer that comes up, that's the breakthrough trying to show itself. Your body knows before I even finished reading the question. The breakdown path is ignoring that answer. The breakthrough path is honoring it. Okay, so you've heard my story. You've asked the questions. You probably already know in your gut, in your bones, what the resistance is pointing to. Now, I need to tell you something that you might not want to hear. Most people don't do anything with this. They listen to an episode like this, they nod along, they think, yeah, I should really look at that. And then they go right back to pushing, right back to just getting through the week, right back to the path that leads straight to breakdown. And I mean, I get it. You're going to get no shade from me. I've been there. It takes courage because doing something different is scary. The familiar is comfortable, even when the familiar is slowly destroying you. Your brain is going to offer you every excuse in the book, but you've already invested so much. But what will people think? But I don't have time to slow down right now. Ah, yes, you don't have time to slow down. So you'll just break down instead. Yeah, fantastic strategy. Really well thought out. Listen, I am not telling you to quit your job. I'm not telling you to blow up your business. And I'm not telling you to make some dramatic, terrifying leap. I'm inviting you to make a decision. Like that decision that I made in that doctor's office. Not knowing the how, not having a plan, just deciding I am not accepting this anymore. Because here's what I know for sure. You don't survive everything that you survived, all the hard things, all the impossible things, just to spend the rest of your life running on fumes and building something that depletes you. That is not strength. That is surrender dressed up as discipline. And the future you is so ready for this chapter to be different. And that fork, it's right in front of you. Breakdown or breakthrough. Signs are the same. The destination, that's your choice. So here's what I want you to do right now, today, not when things calm down, because we both know that is not coming. Ask yourself these three questions. What is this feeling really trying to tell me about what I've been too afraid to hear? What am I being protected from? And is it fear or wisdom? And if I knew I couldn't fail, what would I actually do? And then, and here's the hard part, honor the answer. Not perfectly, not dramatically, just one honest next step at a time. Because when you really make that decision, not just a wish, not just a hope, not just being open to the possibility, but a real line in the sand, seas parting decision, that's when the path appears. And if you've been sitting there thinking, I know something needs to change, but I can't see it clearly. I can feel the pattern, but I can't name it. That's exactly where I come in. Imagine waking up next Monday and actually being excited for the week ahead of you, not dreading it, not white knuckling through it, actually looking forward to what you're building. Imagine trusting your decisions instead of second guessing every move. Imagine having the energy to show up fully for your work, for your relationships, for yourself, for your life, because you've finally started operating from overflow instead of from pressure. And that's what we're building towards. That's what becomes possible when you identify the pattern that's been running the show without your permission. One conversation, just you and me. We find the pattern, you get clarity on what's actually creating the ceiling, and you'll leave knowing exactly what to do about it. The link is in the show notes. Here is what I want you to remember, whether you book that call or not. I didn't know how to heal fibromyalgia. The expert said there was no way out, but my decision opened the path, and your decision can too. The exhaustion, the flatlined results, the body signals, they're not telling you to push harder. I know that you know that. They're asking you to make a different choice. Breakdown or breakthrough. Same signs, different destinations. Choose wisely. And speaking of trusting yourself, next week, I'm sitting down with someone who teaches women that physical safety starts with trusting your gut. Patty Stewart survived an abusive relationship by learning how to trust the instincts that she had been taught to silence. And now she helps thousands of women do exactly the same. That conversation is going to land. You are not going to want to miss it. But until then, trust your intuition, take aligned action, and keep leading the soul.